Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Cantina Conversations, the number one conversational podcast in the galaxy. I am one of your hosts, Will Beeman, joined as always by my two illustrious Northern brothers, starting off with the ever so lovely Jackson Wells. Jackson, how are you today?
Doing well. Typically, you'll see me in a cool Star Wars shirt. That's the actually lie. I only have two. This week, I'm wearing a shirt from my local art house cinema. Support local theaters where you can, but also don't get COVID.
Yeah, support them, especially this year. And
Yeah.
then also joining us is the ever so prompt DJ Giller. DJ, thank you for being ready on time this week.
I was more than ready on time, actually. I was ready very, very early, but that's fine. That's fine. I don't have any merch to show personally right now, so we're gonna skip over that part of the evening. Support whatever company built the sweater. I don't know what brand this is.
Maybe don't say that just in case.
You know what? Actually, yeah, don't support them. Actually,
It's actually funny, DJ. I don't know if you know this, but when someone joins a Zoom meeting when I'm not in it and it's my meeting, I get an email. So I'm sitting in another Zoom meeting at like half an hour ago, and I get an email saying DJ has joined your meeting, and I was like, "Am I late? Did I lose track of time?" No,
Yeah.
DJ's half an hour early.
yeah.
Which never happens. DJ is notoriously late.
I'm putting my foot down. I'm gonna be on time now.
I'm very proud
I'm gonna
of
be
you.
perfectly punctual.
Well, I'm keeping the brand strong for everybody with my Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren Funko Pop t-shirt. So we're at least repping some Star Wars. Not that my backdrop could be hidden at all, but
Yeah, you should donate some so we spread the wealth, you know?
yeah, I'll mail some to you guys so that way we
Okay.
can spread it out. But before we get into this week's episode of The Mandalorian Chapter 10, The Passenger, quite a bit of stuff has happened in the past week since the last episode. One thing I do want to point out immediately, because I'm very appreciative of this, is we had some feedback from one of our listeners in regards to the signing that was in Chapter 9. And it was corrected that they are not using just American Sign Language, but they are using a Tuscan Sign Language, which was developed by the deaf actor who plays the Tuscan Raider specifically for the show. So they've created their own in-universe sign language, which is pretty outstanding. And the sounds and the mouth morphemes are an integral part of signing languages. And I was not aware of that at all in general. So I do want to apologize of me saying that them making the mouth noises sounded dumb at all, if that offended you. That was not my intent. I was just ignorant to that being an important part of signing. I was very appreciative that was pointed out to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Let me pull up the screenshot so we can give a proper shout out to their handle. The handle was at SlyCloneMC. So I very much appreciate the feedback. Thank you for correcting us.
Friend of the show.
Yes, good friend of the show.
Thank you.
So yeah. So we learned something, and that's great
Learning's
feedback.
good.
We have the best listeners, we really do. And then just when I thought I was going to start chilling on buying Star Wars merchandise this year, the Star Wars Celebration shop just got announced. It's going to be going live starting November 13th, and there's like 150 exclusive items on there.
See, I haven't looked at any of it yet, and I'm scared.
I looked through
scared.
it earlier today, and I was just like, my poor wallet, because there's at least 3 shirts on there that I'm gonna end up getting.
Yeah.
There's
You
some
see,
good
I saw like
stuff.
the ad promo for it, and I was just like, I don't want any of that garbage. But like, I'm sure if
Some
I
of
dug
it's
in there, there'd
dumb.
be
Like,
something.
Some of it is
Yeah.
dumb, and it's like that every Star Wars
There's
celebration.
a lot of Baby Yoda merch.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of
Yeah.
Baby Yoda. But like some of it's dumb, but then there's always like a handful of gems that is what
There's-
always draws.
They've
my
got
eye,
the
so.
cool VHS like slip books or whatever.
Yeah, those
That
notebooks.
looks cool.
At
Also,
first glance, I thought they were releasing them on VHS.
Yeah, so
and
did
I was like,
I.
there's no way they're doing that. That's so cool.
If they ever do it, that would be fantastic. If they snuck it into like a merch store thing, and it was
And
just
if it
like
was-
there.
And if it was like
And-
the non-special edition too.
Oh.
we're putting these out, but only on VHS.
And it's an exclusive to Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, I want to put out a call to our listeners / viewers. I'm in the market for a new mug. So if you have any suggestions, be it Star Wars themed or otherwise, let me know. I was looking at some vintage Kermit the Frog mugs, but unfortunately they were too expensive. I might still break on one of them. There's some pretty cool ones. Anyways, any mug suggestions? Let me know.
And then yeah, so help Jackson out with his quest for coffee and tea.
Yeah. So I started drinking. Okay. So here's why. So I drink a lot of coffee. But then I started drinking tea recently because I was like, I like a warm beverage at night, but I can't drink coffee at like 8. But like I only own one mug, and like I wash the mug every time. Not gonna don't freak out there. But like I feel like there's like it just like the coffees get stuck into the mug that I've been drinking for so long.
Yeah.
That like
It's
I
been
need
there.
I need a clean mug for
It's
just
like
the tea.
it's like a cast iron skillet.
Yeah,
It
my
gets
mom
seasoned with coffee after time.
my mom has these very specific mugs that she drinks because her and my dad like split mugs, but like my mom hates the taste of coffee, and she's like, you can't put any coffee in this mug or else I'll taste it. So maybe there is some method to the madness.
Oh,
could
it's
be.
for sure. People pour water into Coke bottles. Like it's a thing that happens. It's how it works. So
They pour water in
What
Coke
are you
bottles?
talking
you've
about?
never heard of people doing that where they're just like, I want the Coke flavor, but I'm on a diet, so I'm gonna pour out this bottle of Coke and I'm gonna pour water in it and think that'll work.
No,
People do
I've never
this.
heard that.
People do no. People do
Interesting.
this. This is a real thing.
Well,
It doesn't make any sense.
yeah, that's news to me.
We need to veer.
But the flavor's on the side, like I guess. But I imagine it still has the calories with flavor. I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
We can't be a
people-
conversational podcast. We got to stick to the Star Wars, or else
right.
this thing gets off the rails.
So moving on from DJ pouring his water into Coke bottles.
I don't do this. I would never do this.
We did receive word from John Boyega himself that Disney did reach out and have a very open and honest conversation with him about his comments regarding his treatment as an actor in the Star Wars films, his comments that he made regarding Finn as a character. And he was very appreciative of them and said that it was a very productive conversation, and they listened to what he had to say and they acknowledged what he had to say. He felt validated. So I think, like, as far as saying that there's quote unquote beef between them, it kind of sounds like they were able to walk away with a mutual understanding of where each other was sitting at. And I think that was the right move. I think instead of putting out a social media post or putting out something on Twitter or just making an article or something, them reaching out without trying to draw a headline, the headline coming from Boyega saying they talked to them, that was the right move. They should have done that in private.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy about that. Jackson, what do you think about it?
I think generally Disney could just kind of get away with doing whatever. There's some tenets of society baked in there. But I think Boyega's situation, like I think they could still theoretically get away with whatever that means, treating Boyega the way he says that he felt. But they didn't, which is interesting. Like there was no physical results in the trilogy about that, but I think it's good to know that there is something productive going on there, and it seemed like a genuine, not like a Disney told me to say that everything was okay kind of thing.
Yeah. Like Boyega's the kind of guy that I think is pretty genuine about that. Like him coming out and saying that is a big difference from Disney coming out and saying that. Like him saying that speaks volumes to me that like, oh, like this actually happened, and like he's still probably not happy about it, obviously, but like at least there's like a good understanding and all that stuff that they can kind of move forward. Maybe come back if he ever wants to. Like who knows? But it's good that they're on good terms.
And I almost wonder even if John Boyega didn't say anything in that interview. I mean, if we would ever even have found out that they reached out to begin with, and then that can even go on even deeper. I mean, who knows how much stuff Disney handles like that behind closed doors this whole time when people on social media keep calling them out saying that they aren't acting fast
Are
enough.
You eating somewhere?
No,
Are you eating us somewhere there, Will?
Well, I mean, who knows what they do? But speaking of Star Wars actors who continue to speak out, Gina Carano is at it again on the Instagram. She's been saying a bunch of stuff just about how the elections in America are fraudulent and peddling more conspiracy theories, and I'm just convinced now with the filter being off, so there's no way Cara Dune's surviving season 2. I think they're going to kind of
Really,
build her
season
up to
2.
be. I think there's going to be like some kind of build up to make us really dig that character, and then like in episode 8 or 7 or 8 this season, she probably gets the axe. I bet.
Really?
Yeah, because
To me, that's like something that happens off screen, just because I feel like they didn't make this decision when they're filming, and I don't know how they could cut some stuff in there to make it happen. I don't know.
I mean, unless she's just off filter like this because they filmed season 2 and she knows she's done, so she just doesn't care anymore.
That's also true.
But
Yeah.
This is weird for a Disney actor. Like, so that would make sense to me if she already knew that she was done and she just doesn't care, and Disney like can't really do anything about it.
Literally, the only other example I can think of is like James Woods or something like that, and that's not great company to be in.
Yeah, and but I mean, like he hasn't been in anything Disney related since what?
Well, he was in the Kingdom Hearts games. I'm pretty sure. Like he.
Was he? I've
Hades
never
in
played those. Oh, okay.
Yeah, up until at least one. My take on this is the same as for anything like this. If I were a very successful celebrity with a starring role in a Disney show, I would simply shut up and collect the check.
Right. But yeah, so as we did the last episode, and as we're going to be continuing to do throughout our episodes going forward, and definitely we will be including a link to a trans rights charity organization. So if you feel free to donate to that, the link will be in the episode description.
Yeah. If it's the one that I'm thinking you're putting in this week, this one's actually pretty cool because it's a GoFundMe link in like direct response from Star Wars fans to
it had like their logo for the GoFundMe is like a baby Yoda, and so so that'll be found. Yeah, shout out to them. All of that will be in the episode description. We finally got a full-length trailer for the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special,
right?
And it looks better than I ever could have hoped it would be, and I am so excited for it. I can't wait to watch that film. Like the trailer has like I've never watched the Lego Freemaker Adventures, so I mean it kind of has like that Lego video game humor to it, but it also like feels a lot like a Lego Batman.
Yeah, it's interesting because like the Lego movie and like the Lego Batman movie are their own thing, but there's like tons of like Lego DC superhero movies and stuff like that are all like direct to video, and they're like all like, well, I haven't seen any of them, but I'm just gonna say they're all really bad just because
they're all like explicitly kids movies.
Oh yeah,
just like put out there for that. Like it's not like the stuff like that.
Yeah. And so like it's interesting to see like when they said Lego Star Wars, I think they've even done Lego Star Wars like shows.
Yeah, the Freemaker Adventures. But
and I'm like, and so when they were like, we're gonna do Lego Holiday Special, I was like, I'm banking on this on the Holiday Special name alone. We'll never see. Maybe it won't be, but like this looks like really good.
Yeah,
like they get it.
Yeah, they get the humor, they get the meta-ness to it. It just looks like there was a lot of heart and thought put into it, and I'm really looking forward to it. And like the shirtless Kylo Ren gag, even like it's just perfect. Like Life Day is going to be great this year. DJ, what do you think about the trailer?
I honestly wish it was a little like. I'm happy with it, but I honestly wish it was a little bit bigger budget if possible. Like I look at this and then I'll remember the scenes in Lego Batman movie, and I'm just like I wish that movie existed for Star Wars. Like that would be really cool. But like this is a totally fine little diversion. That'll be fun for us in November. So I'm excited.
That does remind me, a long time ago I saw Lego Batman DC Superheroes Unite, the movie, and all it was they made a film out of the cutscenes from Lego Batman 2.
Really?
That's what the film
rough.
was.
Was it like straight up like taken out of the game and cut, or were they like reanimated somewhat?
I mean, I never played that one, so I don't know how the game went, but I just know that it was made all just from the game footage.
Really? Oh, so it was the direct
they
footage.
might have added scenes just to make them blend together better.
Yeah, they must have, but
yeah. But yeah, it was apparently just like the cutscenes. But hey, at least we got a real Lego Batman movie at some point.
That's a good movie.
It was great. Well, actually, we don't know if it was great yet.
Yeah, that's true. I did start watching George Lucas's non-Star Wars and non-Indiana Jones work for a project that I'm working on, TBD, and I came across one of his films, and it was titled 14208, and it was a film he made while he was in school still, just about like this race car, and it was just a race car going around on a track basically. And I was like, my jaw basically dropped while I was watching it, because this came out in like 1965, and there was so much in this short film, because it was only about 8 minutes long, that he just reused for the pod race and the Phantom Menace. Like camera angles, direction of how the car was racing.
Yeah,
There's
Sabula
even a
was in
moment.
it.
There's even a moment where like he's having engine problems, and it's just like when Anakin's having the engine problems, and like when his engine stalls. And I was like, he warned us 50 some years ago that the pod race
The
is
only
coming.
human who could do it.
Yeah, it was George Lucas. But that's been an interesting dive so far. He's had some pretty interesting stuff.
Where can you find these videos, Will?
I've been finding them all on YouTube so far, so it's been serving me well. There's been one student film of his called Herbie I have not been able to find yet.
Like Herbie the Love Bug?
No, apparently it's unrelated to that. I know, I was very disappointed too. But that's the only one I haven't been able to find so far. The last one I watched was his student film version of what became THX. But like I've already seen THX before in the past, so it's been a while though. So like the student film didn't blow me away as much as it did back in the 60s, because I've like seen the full,
especially since you've seen like the actual movie.
Yeah, I've seen his like full version with like a budget. So I mean, it was fine, but that's what I've been doing in my free time lately. But before we really get into it here, there's a podcast I listen to called Star Wars Sessions. They're a great podcast. They're probably Britain's best podcast. You can find them on Twitter at Star Wars Sessions, but they had some like a wild speculation theory
Britain's
about
best podcast.
Britain's
probably
number one
Britain's
podcast
best.
in Britain.
Yeah. Okay.
That's like their bit, is probably Britain's best podcast.
Okay.
Okay.
I
got duped by a bit. Unfair.
Yeah. But
that's unfair.
They threw out this like wild speculation on how the Mandalorian will end someday, and I thought it was hilarious. So I kind of want to toss it up to you guys and see what you think about
I'm
it
ready,
too.
because I want to hear this.
They said, how would you feel if what the Mandalorian ends with is there's a little bit of a time jump, and Mandalorian hands Baby Yoda off to Rey post Rise of Skywalker?
No.
God. For some reason, what I thought you were gonna say was it's gonna be like the scene of Yoda dying in Return of the Jedi, but like the opposite.
I thought you were gonna do like some dumb time travel thing where it's like actually it was Yoda.
Baby
the
Yoda
whole
is
time.
Yoda.
Yeah, he went through the world between worlds. And...
yeah,
but like
you know what? Now that you say that, who knows?
I know.
Who knows?
Yeah, because
they could do it.
Rebels had the time jump.
Yeah.
See,
I would hate it personally, but
the problem with nope, no idea what I was about to say.
I just think it's such a preposterous ending. I could almost see it happening in a way.
And then Daisy really turns, looks at the camera, winks, and it like fades.
Yeah,
cuts to black.
She names
Someone
him
asks
Sebastian
Baby Yoda.
Skywalker.
Yes.
Oh man, but yeah, I just wanted to see what your guys' reaction with that would be, because I thought it was pretty funny. But
does anyone ask Baby Yoda's family name?
That's a story for another time.
What is your name? Baby Jaren.
Oh man, there are rumors going around that the child gets his own suit of Mando armor this season.
Oh yeah, that's so dumb.
I know.
That's stupid.
His helmet's got like ears.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I kind of hope it happens. Just
he has a
the
jetpack.
Ridiculousness of it. Yeah.
But yeah. I could totally see him doing like a little patch or something.
Or like
100%. Yeah. Like a little bit like that, or even just like on his robe, he's got like a signet or something. That like, yeah, let's be fun.
Will, what's on your phone case? Is it BB-8?
No, it's just the symbol.
The rebels.
Yeah, just the alliance.
You got the ring.
Shout out to everyone on the video.
Yeah, it's just my little pop socket, so I can watch TikTok better in bed without dropping my phone on my face.
Of course.
So let's get right into The Mandalorian Chapter 10, The Passenger, which was written by Jon Favreau, directed by Peyton Reed of Ant-Man and Ant-Man of the Wasp fame.
Doesn't he do Bend It Like Beckham too or something?
I'm not really sure
He's
what his
dude.
pre-MCU work is, but this is continuing the MCU trend, and it definitely had kind of an MCU feel to it. This episode, I think, compared to
I didn't realize this was his episode. Like, I knew he was doing one, but I didn't realize it when I watched it. Then when finished watching the episode, I was like, oh, right, this all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Yeah,
because
Peyton Reed, the director of Bring It On.
That's right. Because see, I don't look at who the director is ahead of time. I wait to find out when the episode goes live.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this episode starts off with Mando cruising down the Tatooine desert, and he gets tripped up by some, I don't know what you would want to call them, raiders of some sort to try and kidnap the child. Yeah, some bandits try and kidnap the child. And he fights them off, and then there's one that's a unidentified species still that first appeared in The Force Awakens, but
I recognize this as like a Force Awakens thing, but I didn't pinpoint it, but I was like, I think that's new. But...
Yeah, it's a new character, and none of the visual dictionaries so far or anything is that race identified and named yet. So we still don't know who this mysterious person would be. Can we coin it? Yeah, of course we could coin it.
Do anyone have a suggestion?
I'm going to call him the Butterscotch Bandit.
Suggestion. Okay.
Butterscotch Bandit wins.
Yep.
Okay.
Butterscotch Bandit. So the Butterscotch BB, if you will, is holding the child for ransom at knife point, and he's like demanding. He's just like, typical hostage situation, and then
down the child, no one gets hurt.
Yeah, and then the Mando proposes to give him his jetpack.
He doesn't actually propose the jetpack. He proposes, it's like, take anything you want, and then he and then he
picks the jetpack, right?
Yeah. So that was a weird thing when it happened. I was like, so he did the jetpack thing where he flew him up, but he didn't plan it. What was he gonna do if he took the Boba armor? Like, what was the plan?
That could have been how they could get Boba involved. Maybe they were trying to get Boba's armor for him, because that was my first thought. That's like
what I thought too. I was like, oh. Yeah,
we're gonna get into it, and but no, he got the jetpack, and then there was the hilarious bit where he like hit his remote and made him shoot up into the sky, and then
I laughed way harder than I should have.
Like I did too. I laughed pretty hard, but like that's such MCU humor.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
but I don't know, it got me. That stuff usually doesn't, but it worked.
The body falls and the jetpack just perfectly flies down.
Yeah.
It's like he cannot control that well.
Just fine, yeah. But so it was a good bit, and he gathers his gear up over his shoulder and carries it into town. And then there's no way Jon Favreau is not our biggest listener, because I'm convinced now that he is only bringing Amy Sedaris' character back just to spite me personally. And I think I'm going to have to officially start a Jon Favreau beef. I mean, I just watched Elf this week. Like, what more do you want from me, John? Quit giving Amy Sedaris airtime. I cannot stand her character.
You know what? I was into it last week, and I was just like, this was like, that was funny this time. Like, you did it. And I like that you brought this character back this time. I was like, we've gone too far. Like, we don't need this.
I agree for me, I'm just like, but like, I don't vehemently hate her like Will does.
No, I'm not. Yeah.
It's just the character's just so goofy.
She's too much. Yeah.
Way too extra. That's my problem.
I feel like she might be coming back too, because we're still taking that lady to the thing. Like, we might go back to Tatooine. Who knows? We got to address Boba Fett eventually.
We got to go back.
She's going to come back.
Boba Fett. Yeah.
She's going to be in this season again. I guarantee it.
We run into her this time inside the cantina. I'm guessing it's Mos Eisley. Who knows which one
it looked like it was Mos Eisley.
There's only one cantina in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then did you notice one of the characters at the beginning there is like that white Yeti looking character from Rogue One, but it's got yellow fur this time.
I'm sorry, Will. I don't notice
If you
these
go
background
back
details
and
like you.
if you go back and watch it, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah.
But anyway, though, and she's playing sabacc at a table with a giant ant named Dr. Mandible.
Has that been in anything else? Oh no, have they not?
That's totally a Peyton Reed thing because he did Ant-Man.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, okay.
I mean, that's the only reason why I could think of that is why.
Yeah,
For a second,
definitely.
I had the things in my mind on what's that planet called? The one at the end of episode 2. Why am I blanking? Genosha?
Genosis.
Oh,
Geonosis.
Geonosis. Yeah.
I thought there was
One
like
of those
those. I don't know
bugs?
why I blanked. Those like little flying ant things for a second. I was like, is that one
Oh,
of those?
yeah,
Like,
it looks
are we doing
nothing like-
this?
this
But
was
yeah,
like a
no, it's
literal
definitely
ant.
not. Yeah,
And
it's definitely
I couldn't
not.
tell if it's a puppet or not, though. And if it is a puppet, is it just the one they reused that was playing drums in Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I wouldn't doubt it.
I would
wouldn't
love
doubt it at all.
that.
I mean, it just that's what it reminded me of. But
I feel like that ant probably is not a puppet.
yeah,
in
it kind of
Ant-Man,
looks.
Yeah, it
Wasp.
was a little
I mean,
slimy.
who knows? But it's great to just see Sabacc in universe again being done, though, just because I love that.
You
card
gotta
game
make
so much,
that pack you bought worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I got all the official Sabacc stuff now. I'm like the
Right.
Sabacc King. I got the Galaxy's Edge version and the Han Solo trading card game. But yeah, so she's like, yeah, he knows Dr. Mandible here knows somebody that needs driven to this other planet where there's a Mandalorian hideout. I was like, all right, well, there's the plot thread. That's where we're going, is we got to go to this planet so he can find the other Mandalorians, whether it's the club that we saw in season 1 that had to relocate, or could this be Bo-Katan's rumored appearance, or could this be Sabine Wren,
Or Will.
Who knows? But
It'll probably be a new character if we're being honest with ourselves.
yeah, probably. So they need to shuttle somebody to this other planet, and that's when we get introduced to this frog character that needs her eggs fertilized before before the equinox.
You know what? That is exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how
You're
it
correct.
works.
Yeah. So that way her race does not go extinct, because that's how dire
It's not a
this
race.
is.
it's her family tribe.
Yeah,
So I thought it
family
was race
tribe.
2. I
Yeah.
thought it was a race 2 after this first scene. I think they said something. They made it sound like that, but then later they
Yeah.
clarified. And I was like, okay. And I was like, this Baby Yoda's eating the last like 10 of these race. Like this is a lot.
We'll get there.
And then I was like, okay, it's not as bad.
So like the rule though was like they couldn't travel in hyperspace, and he was like, oh man, that's pretty dangerous to do. And then I was like, oh, so they're setting up a side quest episode here. And I wasn't really bummed about that, because last week's was a side quest episode, and last week's episode was awesome.
Yeah.
So like they're flying through space or whatever, and then he gets surrounded by 2 X-Wings. One of them piloted by, I'm going to say this name wrong, and I'm very sorry. I'm not good at reading names, but the actor's name is Paul Sun Hyung Lee. I don't know if he's a Canadian. The only people I saw freaking out about his
he's
appearance
from
are Canadians.
Kim's Convenience, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, is
yes,
that a
this was
Canadian
thing.
TV show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome to
Okay.
Canada. We got Kim's
It's not very
Convenience and
good.
Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw
Don't-
the only
don't
people I
sleep on
saw
Corner
freaking
Gas.
out about his cameo in this episode were the Canadian people I follow. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so that's definitely something for them. And then the other pilot was the return of Dave Filoni as the X-Wing pilot, which Dave Filoni's appearance as X-Wing pilot was the only big happy tears moment of this episode for me, by the way.
Really? Okay.
But yeah, air horns play. But a friend of the show and one of the co-hosts of Remember the Film, Jeff Grisulrich, said that he hopes this is the last appearance of Filoni as an X-Wing pilot because he thinks it makes the universe feel smaller. I personally hope they make Dave Filoni the Stan Lee of live action Star Wars from now on, where he appears at least once
Really?
every season.
See, I had a different takeaway where when they did it and like he was actually like having more lines this time and like kind of somewhat doing stuff, I was like,
He's a bad actor.
because I feel like not even because of that. It was because I was like, because in my head I'm like, yes, he should be the Stan Lee of Star Wars. In my like that was what makes sense to me. But doing this kind of makes me like, well, he's kind of an established character now. Like not that he does a lot, but like it would be weird if he showed up and like, oh, now he's a background Jedi in the High Republic movie 10 years from now.
Oh yeah,
like that would
but
be
you could
weird
always have
now.
him appear as an X-wing pilot.
Yeah, you could keep doing that, but it just kind of closes the door in a way. I was like kind of like, I'm not mad about it. Don't get me wrong. This is a very weird nitpick that I had. It was just a thought that came in my head.
I hope ILM or Phil Zostak or somebody involved with the creative process of The Mandalorian comes out and explains this scene a little bit better, because I've seen the episode twice now, and I swear that these scenes are in camera and those are X-Wing minifigs. Like they look like models. They don't look like special effects X-Wings. Like they look like actual models of the X-Wing that they put outside the cockpit and filmed it, and then CGI'd in the pilot at some point. But like the planes look like they're on a string dangling, like a with like the volume of stars behind them. And I think that's awesome if that's how it is, though. I think it's cool that they're still using minis in this season. I just like that old school touch to it. I could be way wrong.
Could anyone tell what they were saying the entire time? Because I was like, they're doing this transmission thing. I was just like, they're doing something trying to check his identification.
I thought it was
I don't
cool
know what the specifics are.
That they actually pulled back to like a previous episode. I was like, oh yeah, he did do that.
Yeah, episodes or chapter 6, they were like calling back to that. But I was also
super hyped just to have anything New Republic. I was like, they even say New Republic, and I was like, yeah, we're doing it, we're in it.
Right.
But
I almost feel like they made it kind of hard to hear what they were saying at the beginning to build hype, because like I think Filoni's character was supposed to be kind of like how I reacted to it, where I was like, oh yeah, he's back, Dave Filoni is the X-Wing pilot. So like he was like supposed to scan his ship to like check in or whatever, and he's like, not over my dead body, and starts running off, and they're like, we got a runner. And that's when we get this chase sequence that you see in the initial trailer. And I kind of figured this was how that was going to play out. I just thought it would be way too weird and un-Mando-like if he was getting an escort by New Republic X-Wings. So I'm glad this is how it went. And
in the back of my mind, though, I was just like, but what if he does? And what if we're going to a New Republic base right now? This could be so good. And then it didn't happen. And I'm like, I'm not surprised it didn't happen. But in my head,
they wanted him to go to the New Republic base. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But so like in the process of trying to outrun these X-Wings, he damages his ship. So he has to land under like a cave to hide out. And they lose visual of him. And they're like, all right, well, and this has another really MCU moment when he shuts the engine off so they drop faster. And the little frog dude or the frog girl is in her seat, and she's just like, ah, like the whole time. And by the way, that character is voiced by D. Bradley Baker. So shout out to him getting work in Star Wars still.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, so that was like another MCU comic moment, and that one didn't really hit for me. But I mean, I thought it was kind of funny, but. So like they land and then they fall through the ground again into like this cave.
I was like, this is very bad. This is not going to go well. And I was right.
And they uber damage the Razor Crest, like hardcore. And like a part of the hole gets ripped open and there's like no hope. And like they get knocked out and they wake up. Who knows how much time has passed.
We also really quickly missed the part where he puts Baby Yoda to bed and then like crawls into bed with him.
Right. Yeah.
That was kind of cute. But he sleeps in his full armor with his helmet on.
He sleeps in his full armor, but the Sebastian gets like his own little hammock.
Yeah.
It's cute. He's very much a dad this episode.
He's very much. At first you're like, okay, he's just like a nice guy and like wants to. I'm like, okay, he's the dad.
Yeah, he's really stepping into the dad role.
And this is definitely the Baby Yoda episode that we all knew was coming after Baby Yoda just blows up last season. Just like, okay, there's going to be an episode 2 in here where it's a side quest and it's just Baby Yoda doing cute stuff.
Doing
and
Baby Yoda point things. Of the episode.
And like, not to distract from the episode, but like I loved it, but like it was that. It was very clearly that was half the goal here.
So there's a moment throughout this episode that let's just talk now, because the internet discourse is very not a fan of, and that's the fact that
They're turning on Baby
Sebastian,
Yoda.
aka the child. I almost said the child. So Sebastian, aka the child, is eating these eggs that are the offspring of this frog lady, and the internet is not a fan that Baby Yoda's eating these babies. they think it's dark humor that went too far. So I'm kind of curious what you guys thought about this bit throughout the episode.
I'm fine with it. I think
Is he
it's
just
funny.
is he just hungry, or is he
He's
a
hungry.
murderer?
He doesn't know. He doesn't
Baby
know.
Yoda is doing what QAnon has been saying. He's harvesting adrenochrome to expand his
No,
lifespan.
No. We are not getting that stuff thrown our way. I mean, I kind of thought it was funny, but I was like, man, those are supposed to be like babies.
Yeah. When he kept doing it, I was just like, this mom would know. If I was the mom holding the last, like my last eggs for my family line,
you think she'd
I would
like
count
do
them.
a count.
Yeah, I would know how many there are in that thing. Like, and and when she's in the tub with them, it's like she knows.
She's like, well, there were 20 of these.
And then when she like speaks to the thing, you wouldn't be. She'll be like, "Hey, who's eating my eggs? Like, what is going on?"
Yeah, because plan is just to like wait for a little bit until like help comes, and then she hijacks the blown up body of that Zero droid,
which was a cool
from Chapter
callback.
6.
Yeah,
so she can translate herself, and she's like, all right, Mando, we ain't got no time to waste. I gotta get these eggs fertilized pronto, and we're gonna fix this dang ship. So he's like, fine. So he's like repairing it, and then we do get a cute like Baby Yoda moment, because he like does some goo goo gaga talk. Like, instead of his usual like cooing, he's actually like ooh, woo, 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 and like pointing, and so like the frog lady takes her eggs and wanders off into the cave further. And
takes her balls and goes home.
We find out that she found like a hot spring, and is just bathing with the eggs, keeping warm. And I was like,
oh,
that makes what's going on.
I thought she had what's the term? Released more eggs.
Yeah, like she laid more, and
and I was like,
she noticed some were missing, so she was like, time to restock, and but so like
they also very clearly like, I don't know if the term nudifies the term, but like she is like naked, because like after she puts on her clothes before like you see her, and I'm like, this is a weird choice, because there's a lot of weird naked aliens.
Yeah, and so like she's stewing with her eggs, and Mando's like, we gotta get out of here, and Sebastian tries to grab another egg, and Mando's like, no, don't you do that. And I thought it was funny is like people that I follow on Twitter that are parents are just like, toddlers do be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
And so like,
I really liked in this episode just the entire thing of like part of Mando being a dad, and also like this very fish out of water approach they have to this side quest episode. I think is such a better fit than the action like side quest episodes of last season, just because like, we get that action from the big story moments of this show and the big like reveals and stuff, that I like that the side quest episodes this time was like a very different approach, and we got to see something completely different from the character this time. It made me like actually love this episode way more than any of the other side quest episodes. Like this one and episode 2 of last season are like kind of in that same line of where it's like he's in a completely different situation than you would ever imagine him, and like that's such a better tone, I think, to go with.
I like it too, because there's kind of like these like parallel like stories and themes of like family going on, because like this is the like of this season, and I would say in general this is the first time we're really seeing, like, aside from just the general I don't want to enslave this child, Mando's like actually like caring and like loving like Baby Yoda as like a character. And you're also working on the same level of like this woman's trying to like preserve her family line at the same time, and those stories are kind of intersecting at the same time in this episode, which I thought was cool. Not super like stated, but like I noticed that there is something going on there.
It's not super deep, like it's not it's not like the most impressive thing ever, but it's like a nice touch in a one episode that helps you along to get those big moments that we assume we're going to have late season 2 They're like, like we all know something's gonna happen to Baby Yoda. If like they're gonna try to get him again, and like in order for those moments to hit, where Mando obviously is going to protect him, we assume, like for those to hit, we need this. We need this dynamic to happen. So I thought they did a really good job here.
Yeah, I guess I'm confused. I'm really glad this episode was how it was because it put me back down onto level ground after the hype level that episode 1 set me up on. Because like I said in our last episode that I didn't care how the rest of the season went. I was on the hype train to the end now, and then this one immediately very much echoed how chapter 2 went, as far as like the ship got destroyed, he's got to do a little side thing, and then he flies away at the end. But like it's still a good episode. It just reminded me to kind of keep in check, and it kind of makes me wonder, especially with the feedback that I've been seeing online so far, where people have been complaining about it being too much of just a filler episode and not enough story. And I get that complaint. I do, because I think Jackson kind of feels the same way I do, where it's I do kind of want to see like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like what's like at some point, like Clone Wars and Rebels both took about a season and a half to really find their footing.
Yeah.
But those also got several seasons each with 22 episodes. So sometimes that can kind of be allowed, but I just want to know if there's going to be some kind of greater arc to this, because I think what a lot of people are assuming is, like Rebels and Clone Wars, is this show will end up having an impact on the larger Star Wars canon as a whole. And right now, even the little bit of story that we are getting isn't affecting the greater Star Wars canon as a whole. Because
if Boba Fett didn't leak, I think that's a different story, honestly. I think if that doesn't leak, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think it kind of is, like, to show what Boba Fett ends up becoming in this show could great impact,
which is just horribly canon. Scarred.
But like everything that the Mando stuff is carrying on so far is just Mando canon arcs from Clone Wars and Rebels. The normal Star Wars fan, it doesn't have those arcs, don't have that kind of impact on them like the movies do. And so like when I say the greater Star Wars canon, is I think people want this
like
to
66.
They want to like have it affect how the greater story of the 12 films that we've gotten is going. Because like Clone Wars revolves around characters from the prequel films. Rebels interact with characters from the original trilogy. They have a part. There's a cameo in Rogue One. Like the greater canon revolves around those shows. This doesn't have that moment yet, and it still could. Moff Gideon is still up to play, but judging just off these 2 episodes so far, like it's following a similar formula to last season, which means the only big story episodes that we're going to get is going to be next week's episode, week 7 and week 8. So that's 3 out of 8 episodes that we're going to get that'll have some kind of significant story thread to keep moving it forward. And if that's going to be how it is, I think the 8 episode count kind of hinders it in a way, as far as its greater impact, because I understand that it's as short as it is episode wise too, because there's no way this show is remotely cheap to produce. And that's kind of the crux of doing a live action Star Wars show, and why Rebels and Clone Wars benefit from being animated, is they can do grander scale things with a much lower budget. When you're trying to put a $200 million blockbuster movie into 8 episodes every year, that's a lot of money, even with the volume being figured out. So the way I've been able to figure my expectations, at least for the show going forward, and it was reaffirmed today, because we're recording on Friday again by this episode, is Queen of the Porgs, Ask Croshan of ET, said this on a podcast she was recently on, where she said to her, The Mandalorian is just nothing more than a live action Saturday morning cartoon. And that works. And I agree with that take, actually, because the more I think about it, is I don't think The Mandalorian is going to be that greater canon rocking show people are hoping it will be. I think it's going to be just a live action Saturday morning cartoon.
Like the pitch of this show originally is they didn't lie to us. Like the pitch of the show initially was it's your action figures hitting each other. That's what it like. They were pretty honest about what this show was going to be. And I think the fact that we got the Baby Yoda reveal in the first episode, the fact that we have all these rumors for season 2, that one of them is true now, we assume the others are going to be true in some form, that like it is tantalizing. I don't blame a lot of people for wanting more, because I think it's tantalizing us to want more. It wants us to really like, what is the bigger story thing that's going to happen here? And I don't know if they're really prepared to hit it. I thought after episode 1 that like we were setting up to like really do it this season, and then after this episode, as much as I loved it, I think it brought me back down to a more of a place that like you will, that like this is going to be season 1 again for the most part, maybe a little bit more out of necessity, because you can't not up the stakes. Like you couldn't do it, and we know that so many characters are coming in, the stakes are going to be upped a little bit. Like it's going to happen, but not to the extent that I think I want and a lot of other people want. That's not that the show's bad. Like I love this episode. I think I'll look back on this show very fondly if it continues being action figures hitting each other. Like I don't think I'm gonna be super upset, but it will definitely be a little bit feel like missed potential.
Yeah, so. I think I'm kind of bouncing a bit off what DJ said. I think not the problem. The thing about Mandalorian is it's like throwing so much big stuff at you. Like it's created and executive produced by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Like they're making Star Wars. It's directed by Taika Waititi some episodes, and it's like throwing all these like capital A's. And then even within the show, it's like the first episode they're setting it up. Nah, it kind of meanders. And then the third episode, they're like, oh yeah, we're taking this big story somewhere. And then it meanders. And then at the end, they're like, oh yeah, we're really upping the stakes here. And then even like moving into this season where it's like all these names are coming out. And they're even like they've talked about it. Like we watched a whole series about the making of this show and kind of leaning towards where it may go in the future. But then when the episodes do come out, the content's a little different. And I think because generally I just wouldn't complain about this, because I would be like, fans are putting too much expectations on it. But I feel like there's a little bit, it's getting fed to them a little bit in a way. And you know what? Next week, something big is going to happen maybe. And then we're all going to be back on this train of like, okay, now things are picking up. And then the following couple episodes are going to chill out. It's just like a struggle to kind of like have their cake and eat it too. And like we're setting up, it's like, get hyped, everyone. Moff Gideon's here. You see that Darksaber? What's up with that? Let's get hyped. And then it's like, whoa. Take a step back. We're just kind of doing this little like fun thing with this cool guy. And like both are valid and you can do both. It's just kind of like a weird line of what they're doing. And I think we're all sounding a little more negative on the show as a whole, but we all like the show. And we like what they're doing. It's just like, I wish it would be consistent one way or the other, because you never know what you're going to get going in.
Right. And
for better or for worse.
But to be fair, Jackson, like I don't know that there is a way to be consistent one way or the other without this feeling like junk food, for lack of a better way of putting it. Because like if this show went the complete other direction and was just like, this is a Mandalorian show about hitting things with your action figures, and we're never going to bring up the lore, we're never going to address the Mandalorians and like their whole thing post episode 6, we're never going to address Boba Fett, nothing. We're just going to do this thing. We're just going to have fun with it. Like, I don't know. I don't think people would stand it. Like, I think Star Wars has such a name value, especially for the first Star Wars live action TV show. Like, people would not accept it for what it is.
I think you could do both though, where like the story of the Mandalorian is Mandalorian does a job, gets this kid, and then the people want to take the kid. I think you could run that through line throughout. a little bit looser instead of doing extremely tight. This is the story episodes and then completely unrelated stuff in the middle. I think you can weave those two together a little bit more effectively.
Which is what I think episode 1 was, honestly. Like I liked that. Like
Yeah,
I
agree.
It was about
I agree.
finding a Mandalorian, and then we find out it was Boba Fett, and then it wasn't Boba Fett, and then it was adding all these cool things to the lore, and then it was still a side quest episode. Like it was still just like, yeah, we're gonna fight this dragon, I guess. I don't know.
And you could make that argument with this episode too, though.
You could,
because
I don't think this one does it as effectively.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I think last episode you do find the Mandalorian. It's just not what you think it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you do find him. Well, I guess Boba's not technically a Mandalorian, but you know what I mean. We do get the tantalizing tease at the end as well.
So that's the thing too. Is they're doing it because at the end of the first episode, you're like, Boba Fett.
Yeah.
What's next? And then the answer is nothing right now.
And it's just like last season where first episode, what? There's a baby Yoda, and then the next episode he's stealing an egg for Jawas. But like I love that episode.
It's so weird.
Yeah,
and
I think because I have two thoughts though. It's like I think one is because this is the first Star Wars live action show. They're trying to make this as generally loved as possible. They're trying to just draw the biggest crowd they can for it, which results to just like these fun episodes. Like last week's episode, I felt like I was watching a movie. I really did. That had a cinematic feel to it.
Yeah.
This one, I did feel like I was watching a cartoon. I ate a bowl of cereal. I had my pajamas on while I watched it. And I felt like
because it was 5 a.m.
And I felt like I was 7 years old watching this episode. I had a great time with it, except for Amy Sedaris' scenes. But like Dr. Mandible is a hilarious character that child me would have on one of these shelves.
Absolutely.
Let me be honest. If they make a Black Series Dr. Mandible, I would probably buy it. Cod Vanth is still my number one priority, but so like this episode was just like fun. We kind of derailed from the plot because there's really
spiders.
There's really like Baby Yoda goes up to this egg and it opens up and he eats this like spider embryo that's in it. And then the rest of the eggs wake up. There's bigger spiders that come out and a giant spider.
I'm not even arachnophobic, but I was like, what are you doing?
When I was watching this, I was like, I feel bad for everyone who is, because this really sucks.
And there was no warning ahead of time either.
No, like it.
So we'll get back on that tangent in a second. We'll finish the plot up because like this episode is fairly inconsequential. Like they outrun the spiders, they gun a bunch down, they're trying to fight off this giant spider, and then they get pinned down in their ship. There's some moments where like Baby Yoda looks like he's going to be attacked by the spiders, but then the frog character, who by the way, when they're running, starts jumping like a frog.
Oh yeah.
Which I was just like, excuse me? Because it just looks, because it didn't gain her any ground advantage. Like she was hopping just as fast as they were running. So I didn't understand why they did that, other than just to be like, well, what if we made her jump like a frog? And
I think that's how they think. And I think that's good, because I think they're having fun with it. I think they have a lot of fun with this show.
Like they end up getting saved from the spiders from the X-Wing pilots, Dave Filoni and Paul, the other guy.
It was a weird. I don't know exactly how that happened. Like they were in the same area. They found that.
Well, they were scanning for the Razor Crest, but then they were like, "Well, we ran your ship. We know everything that happened in Chapter 6 happened. We're gonna let it slide though, because we're the cool guys of the New Republic."
Never mind.
It is cool though. Like I will give Ludwig his like one shout out.
Yes, I was gonna say the same.
In this moment really is there's like the remix of the March of the Resistance theme as the X-Wings are flying away. So like that was cool. For the most part though, like his score didn't it didn't really stand out too much this episode, but like that's just kind of this episode as a whole. It was just a lot of fun, but it just felt so inconsequential, because like the only thing that's leading into this next episode, which assuming by how last season went will be a big story episode, I think this next episode for sure I'm gonna speculate based off of just the trailers that we've gotten.
This is the Sasha Banks episode.
It's the
I
Sasha
was gonna
Banks
say the same
episode
thing.
because
Especially because they said they were going to like I think they even said they were going to like the planet is like some sort of shipping place.
Yeah, it was like
I
a
think that was something
shipyard.
in there, and I was just like,
Yeah.
okay, so like yeah, this is gonna be that water planet. Fine, let's do it.
yeah. So I think they'll introduce Sasha Banks' character. I do think though what my like I was so dead set on if Ahsoka was going to happen, it's going to be Chapter 5 because that's the one that's written and directed by Dave Filoni. But just how this show is going and comparing to last season, Ahsoka is going to be the Darksaber moment. She's
She's
going to be the very last thing we get this season. It's going to be her appearing.
Huh.
I don't want it to be that way, but I bet that's how it's going to be.
I could totally see that, but who knows? Like,
yeah.
I
mean,
like,
we could come back to this in 8 weeks and be completely wrong. And
yeah, I was about to say
like idiots,
we talked about all that, but like I can see two paths. I can see it being exactly like season 1, or I can see us eating our words hard.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out next week, but
yeah.
But yeah, it does kind of sound like we're like down on this episode, but like I do enjoy it.
No, I loved it.
It's just like the internet in general, the discourse, my expectations, your expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think anyone has like that clear hope yet. And like I keep warning people to temper their expectations. I warn myself to temper my expectations.
You can't play that.
You just can't do it.
I'm not like upset or I'm just like confused. Like, what are we?
Yeah,
the thing is, none of it's been bad.
Like I let the episodes that were quote unquote filler of season 1 just go because I thought this season was gonna give us the story that they built that whole season up to. Like I thought we'd be getting Moff Gideon trying to find them and fight right away.
You remember we watched like the 3rd episode and that guy's got the patch on his shoulder?
It's Camino. Yeah.
The Camino patch or whatever. And we're like, what's the deal with that?
Yeah. And we still don't even know what the deal with
and like the theory
is.
The theory that the water planet was going to be Camino is probably not true because I think we're pretty certain that's next episode. That's not Camino. That's Trask or whatever it's called. So yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I will say, if the filler episodes of this season are like this one, and we have the same amount, kind of like we have like a 4, 5, 6 kind of filler section, and it's more to the quality of the first 2 in this one. This season miles better than season 1.
Oh like, yeah, 100%. Like I will take this episode and last week's episode over 4, 5, and 6 of last season any day.
I like 4 a lot, but we don't need to retread that ground. Yeah. But this is how you do these episodes. I think this is like the best way you possibly could. But it just needs the consistency to get us like on the right, have the right frame of mind to go into it.
Yeah. So. The one thing I was saying to myself, I was watching is like, they're lucky I'm like all in on Mando and Baby Yoda as characters. Like if you did this with characters who were like not super interesting, then like you've got nothing.
Yeah. I mean, even
if next episode doesn't hit, like I could see people drop off. Like I really could. I think there's a lot of casual fans that are watching this show, going back to their friends and renewing their Disney Plus subscriptions. They're like, I'm in for the season 2. Like
they're almost done the next couple weeks.
Thing. Yeah, and then
people who subscribed yearly, I think next week or the week after is like that year.
Yeah. So
I wonder.
So maybe that's why episode 3 is going to really hit then.
I wonder if they absolutely plan that. Just like what's Ahsoka is in episode 3. Like,
we got to get those subs and
got these 5 head takes here.
Yeah, that could be, but I don't know. It's just so weird. I think it's because people want this to be just have a bigger impact, even though it is kind of so small scale.
Yeah. But like we said, like they're having their cake and eat it too. Like they want you to think it's gonna have a bigger impact as well. So I can't fully blame the audience. Totally.
And I also think that's something that I've complained about a lot of newer Star Wars media set around this time frame is I still don't think they've figured out how to get the First Order and the New Republic and everything to start. like
yeah,
that at every like the Aftermath trilogy kind of gets there, but like they've got like Operation Cinder's a thing. There's like the Battle of Jakku. And there's the campaign for squadrons, but like I don't think they've really figured out yet
Yeah, you could tell
how
me
to
all these
pivot
things.
from Empire ending to First Order beginning.
Yeah, you could tell me a lot of this stuff happens in the middle of the original trilogy, and just like, hey, the people there took out the First Order, or took out the stormtroopers in that area, and be like, yeah, that makes sense. Nothing here screams new trilogy, really.
Yeah,
and
I
even
just
like
don't
me
think
and
they
you
have.
will, like, we read Alphabet Squadron, and I love that book. But one of my gripes with it is that it is so focused on the characters and like military drama in the Star Wars like world that is not actually digging into what the New Republic is as an entity, more so like what it is as like a warring faction.
And that's
So
so
like those
interesting.
kind of things. It is interesting, but it's like I want to see like what it actually looks like, and maybe we're wrong, and they're saving it all for an animated show. Like maybe
they could be
gonna do that, and like they could be, but and like they tease New Republic in this episode. Like we're gonna get more, I think, in this show down the line. So who knows? But
I think like Kenobi will probably be greater canon affecting. I think whatever Leslie Hatfield, I think that's her name, the Russian Dolls creator that's developing that TV show. I think that will have greater canon impact. I think whatever Filoni is making outside of the show next is going to have greater story impact. I think this show, the Mandalorian is the Mandalorian. Like this is just our show to have fun every week, and people can't take it as seriously because like I think people just have the expectation that it's supposed to be, and the Emmy nominations kind of support that expectation where like this show doesn't have that hit like a Lovecraft Country does, or Watchmen, or Game of Thrones. Even like this isn't that uber serious show. It's just fun,
despite having the budget of that.
It's just fun Star Wars, and that's cool. That's all it needs to be.
It's good that we're hashing this out, but like to be clear again, like this is not an indictment of the show.
We do like the show like overall. Still. This is more like this episode was still fun.
This is more like us coming together, kind of like reorient our minds into what it's gonna be and like what this is, because they haven't.
I mean, center that compass.
It could be just internet, or it could just be election exhaustion in America, because like by the time this episode is live, Nevada probably might not even be done counting yet. So like
next week's episode,
the internet's been the internet's been pretty exhausting for the last several days, and probably will be for a few more days going forward. So maybe that affected, because like the internet in general just seems down on this episode, but like it's fun. It doesn't really waste your time. Like it's a good episode. It's just like the egg.
I appreciate that they're comfortable cutting the runtime a little bit. They're not like, we got to make 53-minute episodes.
Yeah. And it's nice that episodes like this are shorter. Maybe if all of the episodes that they have this season that have the big story beats, maybe all those will be 50 to an hour long, and that'll be fine. You can make a lot of ground up in almost an hour of television with 3 or 4 episodes in a season, and do all right. But
the movie,
So
before we end it, one story question. Let's get back to the actual plot of what's going on. Do we think Mando's getting a new ship? Because I think he is.
He's got to. He's like kind of like how he got like the upgraded armor last season. He's getting the upgraded ship.
And we're going to like some sort of shipping yard on like a water planet. Like I feel like he's gonna get there and he's gonna be like,
he's got to do a job there to get a new ship.
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
I can totally see that.
I think they'll just repair the Razor Crest, but like add upgrades to it.
Okay.
They just had that huge Hasbro Labs crowdfunding effort for the Razor Crest. They're not going to release that out and then just get rid of that ship.
All right. What if me? But 100% it's getting upgraded.
He starts flying Slave 1 next episode.
Or what if they show that in the shipyard? Just as kind of like, hey,
or
remember
what if
this?
That would be
he
that'd
takes
be
the
fun.
Millennium Falcon?
But yeah, it was a good episode though. Like it was funny though to see Baby Yoda run. Like I got a lot of joy watching him scoot up out of the snow when he was like running from the spiders, and you got your cute Baby Yoda moments that we had last season. That's what people were coming for. Those the
chicken
cute
nuggies.
Baby Yodas. Yeah.
When he was running from all the spiders, I was in my seat. I was like Griff Karga in episode 8. I was like, do the magic hand thing, like do the thing. You gotta fight, but you didn't do it. I was waiting for it.
That was all puppeteering, right? Like there's someone's hand in that
puppet
when it was running, right?
You could tell.
Yeah. Like the way he moved on the ground and like the snow was obviously just like a cotton ball that they shred. Like you could tell it was just somebody puppeteering it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I guess that's pretty much all we have to say about this episode. Is there any final thoughts that you guys might have to throw in on here before we wrap it up, Jackson?
Yeah, I want to say about like 5 or so minutes ago, I like leaned back and stretched and yawned very loudly. I forgot that we were on video for a bit. I apologize for that outburst.
You can see your face. Like, that's a thing.
I don't know. We're just chatting. Like it's just three guys.
We're having a conversational podcast, DJ.
Yeah. A little
bit.
bit.
Any final thoughts, DJ?
No, I'm good.
You're good.
Respect Ludwig, I would say that because he was great this episode. I think we should put more respect on his name.
The music was good.
You guys stand him pretty hard. I think
he's great.
Will's got to be the dissenting opinion for
he's gonna be the devil's advocate.
I mean, I just think his scores have been fine, and the episodes that I've really liked his scores, I've credited them. I thought it was great. He included
you're backtracking,
but I'm not backtracking
hard.
Oh, whatever. But
last season you're in like episode 3, you're just like, this music sucks. Like, I hate this guy. Like,
yeah, and then by episode 8, when the score got good, I said the score was good.
Okay.
I'm just not on that big hype train like you guys are. That's okay though. It's okay. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of bummed overall that it might end up being just what it is when I did kind of want more out of it. But that's fine. I
hope we eat our words. I hope we
are too. I hope next week when we're recording, you can just be like, "Will, you big dumb idiot," and really show it to me. But
you know what's gonna happen though? It's gonna be the same as season 1, where I feel like we had this conversation at the end of season or episode 2, and then
I think we had it after episode 5. That was when we had like our big
when they had the 2 in a row. We're like, "Is this what this show is gonna be?"
And then they had episode 6, and we were like, "I don't know, you guys."
Yeah. But I feel like it's gonna be like when we watch the finale or episode 3, when next week we're gonna be like, well, no, we take back everything, and then immediately after we're gonna be back again, just like,
I mean, Jackson bringing up the subscriptions, getting ready to renew is a good point. I bet you next week we're in for a slapper. Or this week, by the time this
episode's directing? Do we know? Does anyone
No,
remember?
I don't know ahead of time. I don't know until I see the credits.
I think the only ones you can safely assume is episode 5 is Filoni
because he wrote it.
Oh, so they haven't even like posted a full thing?
No, just writers.
Oh, okay.
And then episode 7 is written by Famayuka, so I assume he directed his written episode. Interesting. I said, I don't know if I said this last year. I find it interesting that like he's the only one who writes his own episodes. Like everyone else is like it's just Jon Favreau. But an aside.
Well, him and Filoni.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I'm gonna guess this week's episode's either gonna be. I'm gonna guess they're gonna keep going with the blockbuster directors, and it'll be Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But so what did you watching and or listening think of this week's episode of The Mandalorian? Let us know in the comments or let us know on Twitter at Cantina Convo. Just a reminder, if you get our YouTube page up to 50 subscribers, we're doing the Supreme Kylo Ren Black Series figure giveaway. If you get us up to 75,
it'll be Supreme branded Kylo Ren.
It'll be the Rey and Dio Black Series figure. Follow us on Twitter at Cantina Convo. Interact with us on there. Make sure you're giving thumbs up to the episodes, liking, subscribing, sharing to people, all of that jazz to help the show and everything grow. Thank you so much, though, for everyone who's stuck along with us so far. I'm blown away by the viewership and listenership of the episode since we've returned from our hiatus. You have shown up in droves to prove that the audience for our opinions was still there, and I'm very humbled by that, and I'm very appreciative by that. So let me kick it over to DJ. DJ, where can the good people find you at online?
DJ_Gillard on Twitter. That's it.
And Jackson, where can they find you at?
You can catch me at Jackson W. Wells online. Also, make sure you keep an eye out. We got some links in the bio to some various trans organizations. Check those out.
Yes, I echo what that says as well.
Yes,
check the bios of the episodes. You can find me on Twitter at Papa Star Wars. I am constantly tweeting Star Wars news and takes on there. So
yeah,
I'm actually a pretty decent Twitter feed just to tweet my own horn to keep up to date with stuff.
If you like Twitter, if you like Star Wars only on your Twitter, don't follow me.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for this week's episode. Sorry we went a little bit longer, but I guess it's about the same length that we went last week. So never mind what I just said.
We don't apologize.
Will we be eating our words next week, or will we be able to just continue to accept the Saturday morning cartoon goodness that the Mandalorian is? Find out next time on the Cantina Conversations for hashtag
You'll find out.
Mando
You'll
Mondays.
find out on Mando.
Until next time.
You'll find out when you watch the episode.
That's true. Until next time, may the force be with you.